Steph. Today, I want to look at some data and I want us to kind of think about how we can better help students when it comes to ELA and reading. So, first off, um, it is not enough to simply teach children to read. We have to give them something worth reading, something that will stretch their imagination, something that will help them make sense of their own lives and encourage them to reach out toward people whose lives are quite different from their own. So reading and ELA is very important to build that empathy. That and our students who, you know, are not reading will be ill prepared for life outside of school, whether it's, how to empathize with other people or just to read a basic contract. It is our responsibility as a building to better help our students improve. So some factors that might play effect into our scores for our students. We've have had an increase in the male population, a decrease in female. Um, our economically disadvantaged, we're at 45% in our building that have some sort of economic disadvantage, and that can play a role in lower scores for ELA and reading. Same with students on IEPs. We have about 20% of students who are currently on an IEP, um, and those students do affect our numbers for our ELA performance. So, what is expected of us? Well, our mission is to chart a clear course for every student to succeed. That is every student. We must work towards all students improving and learning, not just our students who aren't doing so well, but for all students. So we need to keep that in mind when we're thinking of a plan to help our students improve on ELA and reading scores. That it's not just for our students who struggle, but it can also be used for students who are proficient or way above standards. So a little bit about our data. So our student scores for our building, as you can tell, went down from 43.37% at level one to 32.86. Okay. And really, we're doing quite well improvement wise on level one. It's the level two that we need to talk about here and how our students are performing when it comes to ELA scores. So, what are we doing to help students with reading? Well, currently, we have a great reading program that is being utilized for our lower tiered students, or tier one, tier two students. We use Viking Fair model. That's for all tiered students. We implement that throughout the entire building. All contents are responsible for using Fair model. We use our fast bridge testing to help place students. I know that information isn't the best, but we have to use what we can use. So it really is only effective for tier one and tier two. We are currently working on finding better assessments for our students. What's great about this past year, we've had pre-ACT, getting that information in and using that in our ELA departments. We also use the ACT information to kind of help us with coming up with ways to help all students as well. Using state assessment information and differentiated instruction, especially for those students that are struggling with reading. So where do we want to be? Well, the one thing we have to remember is our purpose. We want to ensure that all students can learn, students are safe, and to prepare students for life. If you can think of other our other purposes that we should have, please let me know. So goals that we need to have: improve student learning, continue positive growth. It is we that is our goal, that is our job. Okay, that is what we want to do. So how did we get to where we are currently? Well, students identified as level one for ELA has decreased from 43.37 to 32.86%. That's about a 10.51 decrease. But because this number has decreased, level two performances increased from 37.34% to 45.45%, which places us about 8.9% above the state average. the way we see it is we need to sustain growth and work on improving level two performances to get them to level three. What are some other things that you notice with this data? So some effects that could possibly affect this number, reason why we have these gaps. What we noticed an administrative staff is that, well, there's an increase in male population, and with an increase in male population, boys usually do worse with reading tests. Uh, with 45% of school population that are economically disadvantaged, they haven't had those open resources that other students might have had. And our IEPs are on the rise as well. Currently, 20% of our student population is on an IEP. Our SPED department and our teachers do a great job working with those students, but we have to start thinking of other ways in which we can help those as well. What are some other causes that you can think of? So, our objective, we want to continue progress. We want to build relationships because if our students aren't motivated to try to learn, then we're failing them. So we need to build those relationships and have a place for them to go and talk where they can like get help. And we need to find new ways to reach all students. So how are we going to get to where we want to be? Well, what we have suggested is continue reading program, maybe even expand it. Evaluate Viking Fair model, see what's working with it, what's not working with it. Try to simplify it more for teachers that are unsure of how to use it. Reinforce reading standards in all contents and work on building relationships. Now, this is what the administration sees as what we should do. What are some things that I want you guys to discuss with groups about other ways in which we can also come up with a plan of action as well? I'll give you guys some time. So to implement the plan of action that the administration came for, the ELA department will simplify standards for all contents. Just kind of a basic way for all contents to have a good understanding of the standards that need to be hit for ELA to improve student learning. We want to look at expanding the reading program, kind of make it a level tiered if we need to, see if we can help, maybe all students with that or just level one and level two. And teachers need to continue building relationships with all students. Very important. But going back up to ELA Department of Simplified Standards, remember, that's not just for tier one, tier two, that's for all tiers. That's to help with all students improving. So is what we are doing making a difference? Well, to measure that, how we see is we will use FastBridge to test to see if what we're doing is working, and teacher assessments to see if students are improving on their skills. What are some other ways in which we can help with measuring student improvement? All right. Thank you guys. Good meeting, and I will see you guys next time.